Chandas Thakur. So, we'll sing Ye Anilo Prema Dana. Pine Rotimadas Thakur. Thank you. No toasting music? Yeah, thanks. Ye Anilo Prema Dana Karuna Prachur Hey no Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Thakur Kaha Mora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatan Kaha Dasa Raghunata Patita Pavan Kaha Mora Bhata Yuga Kaha Kaviraj Eka Kale Kota Gela Koranatharaj Pasane Kutivo Mata Anale Pasibo Goranga Gunaneri Kota Gele Pabo Se Saba Sangira Sange Ye Koelo Bilas Se Sangana Paya Kande Naro Tamodas He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where is such a personality as Srinivasacharya gone? Where are my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatana? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kaviraj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga accompanied by any of these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvrajikacharya Asatara Satashishan Maharaj Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai. Mathura Dhama Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dhama Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dhama Ki Jai. Gangamai Jamuna Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya. Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane. Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Bacharane Nirvase Susunyavadi Paskachade Satarane. Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Vanchakapachibhischa Kripa Sindhavyebacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So it's January 20th, 2025 in New Goloka, Hillsborough. It's the disappearance day of Lochan Das Thakur, so I'm going to read just a little bit about him, just to Prabhu made the point that his appearance day was not that long ago, and you had an in-depth class at that time, so I'm not going to be doing an in-depth class on Lochan Das Thakur today. And we are going to go on to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 59. We're going to do 2 verses, 22 and 23. So Srila Lochan Das Thakur appeared in this world in 1520 AD, 34 years after the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he wrote the Chaitanya Mangala and many devotional songs. And he took birth in a family of physicians who resided in the village of Kogram in Bardhaman. His guru was Narahari Sakar Thakur. He was married at a young age, and which practically almost everybody was married at a young age in those days. From his youth, he was very attached to Sri Gaurasundar and consequently very disinterested in material life. In his youth, he spent the major part of his time in his guru Sripat Srikanda, where he learned how to do kirtan. The book that he composed, Chaitanya Mangala, was from the diary of Sri Murari Gupta. Quote, Murari Gupta, who resides at Nadia, composed many beautiful verses about the life of Sri Gauranga. These include the youthful pastimes of Nimai, which Murari Gupta personally took part in, and his later pastime in Nilachala after he accepted sannyas, which was narrated by Sri Damodar Pandit. Having heard these verses of Murari Gupta composed in Sanskrit, I have become very attracted and so have composed them in the village folk poetry meter of Bengali. In his Chaitanya Mangala, Srila Lochan Das Thakur has written, quote, My hope of hopes is to be near the lotus feet of Sri Narahari Thakur, to serve and worship him with my very life. The cherished desire of the fallen Lochan Das is to be allowed by the grace of Narahari to sing the glories of Sri Gauranga. My Lord is Sri Narahari Thakur and I am his servant. Bowing and praying before him, I beg him to allow me his service. This is my only aspiration. I thought that was a nice meditation. And the Chaitanya Mangala is a wonderful, wonderful book, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. Okay, we're going to go on to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 59, Text 22. We're also going to read Text 23. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sakundalam Charu Karita Bhushanam Babho Prativyam Patitam Samujwalam Saheti Sadvit Yirish. Okay, I'm going to try. I'm going to just do it without the Sandhi. Saheti Sadvyiti Rishaya Sureshwara, and then it messes up the meter. Yidrishaya. How would you do it without? You can't have an extra syllable. Just Saheti Sadvit Rishaya Sureshwara. Okay, Saheti Sadvit Rishaya. I can't do it. I tried before the class. I still couldn't do it. Malya Mukundam Virikranta Idire. Please chant. Tabushanam. Babo Prativyam Patitam Samujwalam. Saheti Sadvitya Rishaya Sureshwara. Malyam Mukundam Vikiranta Idire. Babao Prativyam Patitam Samujvalam. Saheti Sadyet Rishaya Sureshwara. Malayar Mukundam Vikiranta Idire. Kundalam Charu Kirita Bhushanam. Babo Prativyam Patitam Samujvalam. Haheti Savit Malyar Mukundam Vikiranta Idire. Sa, together with kundalam, earrings, charu, attractive, kirita, with a helmet, bhushanam, decorated, babao, shown, pritivyam, on the ground, patitam, fallen, samujwalam, brilliant, ha iti, alas, alas, sadhu iti, excellent, rishaya, the sages, sura ishvaraha, and the chief demigods, malyai, with flower garlands, mukundam, Lord Krishna, vikirantaha, showering, idire, they worshipped. BBT translation, fallen on the ground, Bhaumasura's head shone brilliantly, because Krishna had just cut it off. Yeah? Decorated as it was with earrings and an attractive helmet. As cries of alas, alas, and well done arose, the sages and principal demigods worshiped Lord Mukunda by showering him with flower garlands. Okay, and I'm going to read some commentaries on this verse from Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The sages and demigods shouted, ha iti, alas, alas, which usually indicates sorrow, but here it indicates condemnation, according to Kshirak Swami. They said, oh, what a sinful person, disturbing the whole world. It is good, sadhu, that you have been killed. They covered Krishna with garlands. Ever seen any of those photographs of Prabhupada where he's covered with so many garlands, you're wondering how he can even walk? Right? So like that, covered with garlands. Okay, I'm going to look at Srila Sanatan Swami. The head was attractive to people because it was the head of a demon that had fallen on the ground. Though the Lord created beauty, now it was confirmed. Thus in joy, the head is described as shining, samujwalam. The earrings were somewhat a cause of the head shining. Some who were very sinful at that place shouted in condemnation, ha. This is according to Kshara Swami. The sages said, verb should be added, enjoy good. The Devatas, like Indra, covering Krishna with garlands, worshipped him. So that's a different So you have Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying the same people said ha ha sadhu, and Srila Sanatana Goswami, and it's echoed by Srila Jiva Goswami, says some people were saying ha ha and some people were saying sadhu. Okay, I am going to go on to the next verse and talk about them both together. So 23. The goddess of the earth then approached Lord Krishna and presented him with Aditi's earrings, which were made of glowing gold inlaid with shining jewels. She also gave him a Vajjayanti flower garland, Varuna's umbrella, and the peak of Mandara mountain. Now, it's interesting because you actually have in the Sanskrit, Vajjayantya and Vanamalaya, actually two different garlands. So you have the demigods already showered him with flower garlands. They didn't shower him with flowers, they showered him with flower garlands, and then you have Bhumi Devi's giving him another two garlands. Okay, so here looking first at Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's. Bhumi returned everything stolen by her son, including the peak of Mandara mountain. Maha Manim is Mani Parvata. Now that's also interesting because Srila Prabhupada translates that Maha Manim. Mani means a jewel, particularly a pearl, and Maha great. So Prabhupada just translates that as a great jewel, but our other acharyas translate that as the top of Mandara mountain, which had been also stolen by the demons. So Srila Sanatana Goswami says, Bu lived always in the house of Naraka, being his mother, or she appeared at that time. She approached Krishna, directly Bhagavan, and her husband. The Vajjayanti is a 5-colored garland, and the Vanamala garland is made of leaves and flowers extending to the feet. So here in the BBT translation, they put it as one garland, but here Srila Sanatana Goswami is differentiating that it's two different garlands. She offered him the earrings along with the Vanamala and Vajjayanti garland. Ata indicates all or after some time. After that, she offered the umbrella and mountain. Okay. And Srila Jiva Goswami is just saying the same. So, verses again. Fallen on the ground, Brahmasura's head shone brilliantly, decorated as it was with earrings and an attractive helmet. As cries of alas, alas, and well done arose, the sages and principal demigods worship Lord Mukunda by showering him with flower garlands. The goddess of the earth then approached Lord Krishna and presented him with Aditi's earrings, which were made of glowing gold inlaid with shining jewels. She also gave him a Vajjayanti flower garland, Varuna's umbrella, and the peak of Mandara mountain. And she gave him a Vanamala as well, though that's not in the BBT translation. So, if you look up in the Veda base, the phrase peace and prosperity, you're going to find it 195 times. And also, I don't know how I could even research this, but there's also dozens, maybe hundreds of more times where Prabhupada says something very similar. He'll say a peaceful and prosperous situation, or peace, tranquility, and a prosperous situation. He used different wordings. But Srila Prabhupada very much emphasizes the fact that the Lord and the devotees want there to be peace on earth. And in the first purpose of ISKCON, it says peace and unity in the world. That the Lord wants, even in the material world, even though he says dukkhalayam ashashvatam and asukam anityam, it's not that Krishna is like, okay, let them all be suffering there. He actually wants everybody to be happy. Right, there's that famous Sanskrit verse, let everyone be happy, let everyone be peaceful, let the whole universe be full of happiness. Prahlad Maharaj also says a similar thing, let all the envious persons be pacified. And we find when the Lord is actually ruling the earth, like during the reign of Lord Ramachandra, there was peace on the earth. There wasn't even disease. People didn't even have to die if they didn't want to. There wasn't difficulties in the weather. You know, people talk about climate change and is that being done by industrialization? It's also happening because of people's sinful activities. In former times, the ruling government was actually blamed if there were things like earthquakes and tornadoes and wildfires and too cold and too hot. If children died in infancy, the government could be blamed because it meant that there wasn't proper yajnas going on. So when Krishna comes to this planet, he says, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata bhutanam dharmasya tadapmanam srujamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya jaduskritam dharmastam starpanartaya sambhavan mi yuge yuge. That Krishna comes to reestablish dharma. And he's doing this through principles of justice and also through principles of love. Because if we're going to talk about what is Sanatan Dharma, ultimately it's about loving relationships of service. So I wanted to look here at the killing of the demon Bhaumasura and then the offering to Krishna by Bhaumasura's mother, the wife of Krishna, the items that Bhaumasura had stolen, and then also the relationship that Krishna is having here with Bu, with Varuna, with Aditi, with the sages, and to some extent also with Bhaumasura. So the killing of Bhaumasura is an example of what we would call punitive or retributive justice. And this kind of justice is focused on the offender. It's focused on the offender. If someone murders your husband and that person is put in jail, there's nothing restored to you for the death of your husband. You understand? The murderer's in jail, but you as the widow don't get anything. Unless you have a civil case and then you have some kind of damages like a wrongful death suit, and then you can get some money from the offender. But generally it's just punishing the offender. And the idea of punitive or retributive justice is that the punishment should fit the crime. It should be appropriate to the crime. Just like we have in our Constitution, no cruel and unusual punishment. We're not supposed to have, of course, we end up having it illegally, but we're not supposed to have any torture of anyone, for example. And even when there's capital punishment, the capital punishment should be done in a way that's not torture. Yeah? The severity of the punishment should equal the seriousness of the crime. And like we find nowadays when the laws against some, say, marijuana use are being changed, that a lot of the leaders are going back and commuting sentences of people who were put in jail for 20 years for, possession of a small amount of marijuana. They say that punishment isn't commensurate with the crime. So why is this kind of justice done by the Lord? It's definitely done by the Lord. It's done by the Lord generally in terms of the laws of karma, as administered by Yamaraj. Krishna says he is Yamaraj, but Yamaraj is also a jiva acting on behalf of the Lord. So why is this done? This is to put everything back into balance and to help the offender become rectified. Prabhupada talks about how if a murderer is executed by the government, they don't have to suffer the karma of being a murderer in their next life. They can start with a clean slate. So this concept that the government is the representative of God, even a bad government, if they punish a criminal properly, then that person is relieved of their karma. They can start off the next life without that burden. Whereas if you have to go on in your next life, you have to pay it with interest. The longer you wait to pay something off, the more interest accrues on it. And then you're burdened on this life after life. So the punishment of criminals is meant to restore a balance in society. It's meant to help actually the offender to be able to move on with their life. Perhaps it can rectify the offender, although punishment doesn't seem generally in and of itself to rectify the offender. But it also makes society feel safe. Therefore, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, of all ways of taking down lawlessness, I am punishment. We feel safe if we're in a country where the government is punishing criminals. And I know the difference because I travel in countries where that's not the case. I travel in countries like in South Africa where everybody is constantly afraid. Constantly. And, every single home, every home has a big fence around it. Like the doors, everyone over the doors, they have, metal grates with many, many, many locks, and over the windows there's there's grates also, and then there'll be a courtyard, and then there'll be a wall, and on the wall there's razor wire and broken glass, and then there's another big gate with locks. I was staying at someone's house in Johannesburg, and I said I want to go out in the morning for a Japa walk, so they unlock like 4 or 5 locks on the main door, then another 4 or 5 locks on the metal grate. Then we go in the courtyard, they immediately lock all the doors behind me. Then they go through the courtyard to the main gate, which is surrounded again. It looks like a prison, it's surrounded with razor wire and broken glass. And then they're unlocking all the locks on those doors, and they don't go out with me. They won't go out with me, and now you can go take your walk. So, and then, we just take it for granted that the door to the temple room is just open, or we have the gift shop. The devotee was talking about the gift shop and how our gift shop, anybody can just walk in that gift shop and take anything, but we're trusting people that if they take something, they're going to pay for it. But when you go to these places where the government is corrupt and the government is weak, then it's frightening. I remember once going to a program in South Africa, and I saw 2 murdered guys by the side of the street. And practically everyone I talked to there, either they or a close relative has been a victim of violent crime. And we're talking really violent crime. I mean, one of the devotees there, she had been raped, she got pregnant from the rape, and then her son, when he was 22, his car was stolen at a traffic light and he was murdered. The son from the rape. So this is what happens, in places where the government doesn't act like this. So Krishna doesn't want that kind of a world. So therefore he takes demons like Bhaumasura and he cuts off their head. Yeah? You're going to be kidnapping 16,108 women. You're going to be stealing the demigod's property. Off with your head. Now, Krishna's also showing his mercy, of course, to Bhaumasura. When you get killed by Krishna, then it's not just that you get free from your karma and you have a good next life, but you actually get liberated. So Krishna is interested in that kind of justice. But Krishna is also interested in what we would call restorative or reparative justice. Now, if the offender takes it on their own initiative to do restorative or reparative justice, then punitive justice is usually not needed. If you think about in our normal interactions, if I insult you or I punch you and then I apologize or I rectify in some way, then often you're satisfied with that and you don't want me to be further punished. Isn't that a fact? Right? If I steal something from you and you confront me with it and I say, I was wrong, I was selfish, I violated our trust, I really get to the root of what I did wrong. I don't blame you, I don't blame my parents, I don't blame society, I take full responsibility and I say, look, I'll buy you a new one and maybe I'll do some additional help for you, I'll cut your grass or something like that, then you're probably not going to report me to the police. You probably won't want some further punishment. Now, in this case, the restorative justice is not being done by Bhaumasura, but by Bhaumasura's mother, who is the wife of Krishna, and she returns what was stolen. I mean, of course, Krishna restores things with the women by marrying all of them, but she returns what was stolen and she recognizes Krishna's supremacy. So the next verses are her prayers to the Lord, who's also her husband, recognizing his supremacy. And she also restores things. Restorative justice also means that you do things in harmony with nature, in harmony with the devas. So this restoring the property of the devas is also part, you're restoring the balance. And there, I didn't have time to look this up. I'm sorry. I actually was in the middle of a huge project I had to do on a tight deadline. But there is a place in the first canto where Krishna says, where actually Prabhupada says in the purport, that Krishna doesn't like to punish. He punishes the demons or kills the demons regretfully. Just like a good parent does not want to punish a child. Even a very mild punishment, goes in the corner for 5 minutes. A good parent would like the children to be obedient automatically, and if the children are not obedient automatically, the parent would like to say, can you please say you're sorry to your brother? And the child says, I'm really sorry, dear brother, for taking your toy and hitting you over the head with it. And then you don't have to have any further punishment. So Krishna also prefers that. He prefers that for all of us. If we do some criminal activity or we offend some devotee or we do anything that's wrong, Krishna prefers that we take responsibility and we try to restore the situation. We try to make reparations so that he doesn't need to step in and punish us. And if we can do that voluntarily without anybody pressuring us, then that's even better. Now that's not so easy to do, of course, because doing that means that it kind of chips into your false ego a bit, right? Because if you really do it properly, then you're not just making up for the gross behavior, but you're actually repairing the relationship and you're dealing with how you were selfish or how you betrayed trust or how you weren't really responsive to the other person's needs. That you're actually getting to the root. You know, if I steal something from you and I just return the thing and I go, well, you know, here, sorry it bothered you. That's not going to feel like restorative justice. But if I steal something from you and I say, wow, I really betrayed the trust in our relationship, I can understand that you're not going to want me to go in your house anymore. And, you know, I get that. And it's up to you if and whenever I can come and visit you again. You know, I really messed up here. And I was very selfish. I wasn't thinking of your consideration. So that's what restorative justice is, and that's what Krishna wants us to do. And here we see Krishna's love for his mother, Aditi. Aditi is the mother of Krishna in another form. She's another mother of Vamandev. And these were her earrings that were stolen, and the love for his devotee Varuna, whose umbrella was stolen, and the love for the whole universe. The Mandara mountain is a very important mountain. It was nice yesterday you were reading Das Avatar, and I worship Kurma, and when you were reading about Kurma, how he has a depression in his back from the churning of the Mandara mountain, and I went to look at my Kurma Shila, and indeed he does have a little, I mean he's shaped completely like a turtle, and there's a line around him for the shell, and he has a hole for his tail and a hole for his head, but he also has a little depression in his back. So I was really, it's so funny, I've sung the Das Avatar so many times, but when you were reading that, I went and looked like that. So he has this depression as a reminder of his Leela. And just like in the Hamsadutta, it's stated that Krishna has some marks on his upper left arm from the teeth of Keshi, from having put his left arm into Keshi's mouth. So, sorry, that's a little tangent there. But anyway, so that this peak of Mandara mountain is also returned. And of course, these were the reasons why Krishna went to fight with Bhaumasura, because the Devas complained to the Lord, and they said, Bhaumasura took our earrings and our umbrella and the top of the mountain. Now, by the way, generally you don't have a war over an umbrella. Right? I remember in the old Brooklyn temple, so my husband and I had an umbrella with one of the, what would you call that? The spokes was bent, it was like broken, right? And on the morning that we were going to go to the Philadelphia Rath Yatra to see Srila Prabhupada, and I was getting second initiation, it had been raining, and we had left that umbrella in the shoe room, and when we came out after the morning program, it was stolen, it was gone. And we were really fried, you know, our umbrella was stolen. When we got to Philadelphia, where it was also raining for the Rath Yatra, we saw our umbrella being used over Srila Prabhupada. We knew it was our umbrella because it was broken like that. Then we were like, fine, it could be stolen for Prabhupada. But I promise you, we wouldn't have started a war over an umbrella. And even if you had valuable earrings, probably wouldn't start a war over earrings. This paraphernalia of the Devas is not just ordinary paraphernalia. Just like, you know, we humans, we can create a phone that enhances our powers, correct? Right? Like if I want to talk, this morning I was talking to devotees all over the world, trying to get this paper done. So if I want to talk to somebody in India, I can't just use my voice, right? I can't just call out, hey, right? Or someone in London, hey, you there? But if I use my phone, although this is created by human beings, it expands human power. You all understand? So then I can talk to people all over the world, and I can talk to a group of people simultaneously. I can even have a video call. I can buy things. I can get my own version of Propti City, right? I just press a couple buttons, and 2 hours later, the thing shows up at my doorstep. So the demigods also have paraphernalia like this. They have paraphernalia that's imbued with subtle mystic powers that then can enhance their own powers. So this is not ordinary paraphernalia, like their weapons are not ordinary, and therefore they're worth having a war about. So Bhumi is restoring. She's on behalf of her dead son, she is restoring the balance, bringing everything back voluntarily. But Dharma is not just about justice. It's not the beginning, middle, and end of Dharma. It's like sometimes I point out, it was many, many, many years ago, I was out on Sankirtan, and some Christians gave me one of those little booklets, we called them like a track, and it was showing God. He was wearing a business suit, but he had no face, and he's huge, sitting on this throne, and then the people were like little ants next to him, and there was a big screen, like a screen here, but on the screen was playing your life. So imagine that in the class, if I was playing each of your lives here, and then saying, okay, heaven, hell, heaven, hell. I was thinking, why do you want to hang out forever with a God who's like that? But anyway, so it's not just that. But Dharma is also, Sanatana Dharma is also about service and about love. And this is service and love from the devotee to Krishna and from Krishna to the devotee. So Krishna is also restoring this kind of Dharma. And we find this in verse 22, we have haha and sadhu. Haha means bad, bad, and sadhu means very good. So either this is the demons going, bad, bad, our friend's been killed, and the rishis going, good, 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 or it's the rishis going, this bad, bad demon was killed, good, good, good. So it depends how you want to look at it. So they're happy. Krishna wants to make the sages happy. They love him, he loves them. The sages in the universe, they don't personally get involved in these battles, but they're disturbed when the demigod's paraphernalia is destroyed, when Mandara mountain peak is taken off, when all these women are being kidnapped and abused. They're concerned. And so they're happy. Krishna wanted to make them happy. Then he wants to make, as I said, Aditi happy. Aditi is his mother. She's the mother of Indra. And Krishna wants to make her happy. You can have your earrings back. He wants to make Varuna happy. They want to make him happy. And they go to him when they need something. Right? They go to him, hey, we're in trouble here. Right? And Krishna also wants to make the universe happy. He wants the Mandara mountain to be happy. And then you have this relationship between Bhu and Krishna. So this is a very delicate matter, because you certainly don't want your husband to kill your son, even if he kidnapped 16,100 women, and even if he's stealing things from the devas. A mother is naturally going to have affection for her son, even if he's a criminal. Actually, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, I am the father, I am the mother. And Krishna has affection for us, even if we become criminals. So this is a very delicate matter. That Bhudevi, she definitely had love for her son, and yet at the same time, she also wants harmony in the universe and harmony on the earth. She is the earth. She doesn't want demons running around on the earth creating a disturbance, even if they're her own son. And so just like the Lord is willing to kill his son if he's a demon, so the earth goddess is also willing to see the Lord deal out punishment to her son if he's a demon. And this is part of this. She still has love for him. Just like in the Nectar Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami is quoting Arjuna, saying that when Abhimanyu died on the battlefield, practically in the presence of Krishna, that Subhadra's love for the Lord never diminished. It didn't change in color. Although Abhimanyu was a great devotee and he was killed unfairly, he wasn't even a demon killed to restore justice. Still, Subhadra wasn't angry at the Lord. She recognized that this was all part of the Lord's plan. So what to speak of if your son actually becomes a demon? And Bu is reestablishing her loving relationship with the Lord. They are there glorifying their relationship as husband and wife and their shared understanding about the death of their wayward son. So here Krishna is restoring Dharma at all levels, on the level of punishing the demons, through his wife on the level of restoring the universe, and then through these loving exchanges. So questions, comments, additions, corrections? Yes, Drishta Prabhu. Okay, so Drishta Prabhu is saying if a murderer is executed, that is going to wipe out the karma from the murder, but it may not wipe out other things which they still have to suffer for. But still it's reduced. And it's a significant thing. It's actually very helpful for the person. I mean, it's good for society. It allows people to flourish in society and prosecute spiritual life, and it's good for the criminal as well. What about the government officials? They're just doing their job. And that's the difference between vengeance and justice. You know, if you kill my kid and I kill you, I'm liable. I can't do vengeance. But if you kill my kid and I turn you over to the government, and they're a disinterested party, they're supposed to be. I mean, we're talking about what's supposed to be the ideal. We're not talking about what actually happens in 2025, but what would be the ideal situation? No, the government, they're just doing their job. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Dipan Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham
Namako Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Namin Nominde Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Muravani Vaja, Neke Nirvisesha, Shunyavadi, Asacha, Satarande. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nanda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaurabhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaurabhakta Vrinda